Hello, welcome to part number 6. So this is where we left off. We left a working nav section with some links functioning, and we did a little intro to CSS. So in this one we're gonna look at what the box model is and do some more styling. So before we start, I did a little housekeeping. I changed my index. It now says just welcome, and this paragraph I had on the about us, and then the image we already had, and our little schedule and the footer. And on the about, I just added this little made-up story, how this started. And then these are two sections. How this started with a little made-up paragraph, a little humoristic, and then another section with another H2 and an unordered list. All right, so let's get started with the styling. So a good one to start with, I guess, is this menu, because this is very ugly. This table is very ugly. The things nearly touch each other, and etc. So let's try working with this first. So here is the big core idea about CSS, or about the box model. Everything in the HTML is in a box. Everything we see, the image, the table, the nav, everything is a box. And how can we look at this? So let me expand. And here on the Chrome or in any browser, I'm going to right click and then hit this inspect. And here's the little box. Right now we don't have any padding border margin, right? But if I hover over the main, here's the box of the main. This is the box of this section where we have the image. This is the table box. This is the image box. This is the whole main box. This is this section. This is the header box, nav box. So you get the idea. And of course, when we add padding or border or margin, we will be able to see this. And we'll see it once we put lines. But for example, here in our table, so the content is the inner part. Right now we only have content. Then we will have some, if we specify padding, we will add space between the content and the border. And then this border will specify if there is a visible border, like a line surrounding what width. And then the margin is space outside the border. We'll see all these examples. So let me close this and bring this back to being here. And let's bring our style. So let's start. Table header and table data elements will have padding of, and look how this will change immediately. Padding of 10 pixels and 15 pixels. See how this immediately went bigger. It's because now we are adding space. 10 pixels on the top and bottom, and 15 pixels. This is how I always remember this. This is exactly the same. And this is like clockwise. Top, right, bottom, left. But if we only specify 2, they repeat invisibly. So something always useful is to do border. Sometimes we don't even want a border, but and let's make it 1 pixel. Solid. And let's add a color. Black. And we can do hex, a little gray. See. So now we can see every table header or every cell table data now has a padding, top and bottom of 10 pixels, left and right of 15, and a border of 1 pixel solid of this color. Here it is. So let's check out the inspect page now. Where's our table? Here, table here, table head, table row. What did we do? The table headers, and here it is. Now we have, here's the little padding we did, 10, 15, 10, and here's the size of the content. And here's the padding and then 0.909 would be the actual width of 1 pixel. I don't know. I don't know the maths. Okay, so let's close this again and again. Okay, so now let's do the images next. Class. So the images, where are we? In the menu. The image, we did this little style trick. We did the width right here. Let's delete this, and the image will be wide, be very big. But now let's add a class. And name it content image. And now let's go to our CSS, and now since we want to select something that has a particular class name, we add this dot, and then we do content image, and then our curly brackets, and then let's do here let's return our width of 300 pixels here. There, we have our image size back. Now let's add, this is the content, let's add a little margin so it separates it a bit. Margin of 20 pixels, space 0. So only on top and bottom, because 20 0 means 20 0 20 0. And now let's add a border of 4 pixels solid, and then we're gonna do the same brown we used for the headers. All right, does that look nice to you? I don't know. Padding of 4 pixels all around. So remember, the padding was between the image and the border. So here's a little, let me exaggerate so it is visible. So this is important. Right now, the image is 300. So when we are adding padding, it's reducing the size of the content instead of leaving the content at 300 and growing outwards. And we can specify how we do this. But for now, we're gonna just go with the default behavior, which is like this. It shrinks the content and keeps this at 300. Well, let's do this thing with the box size right away. Better. Now that I mentioned it, so let's go with it. So I'm gonna do the star selector, which means on every box, everything there is here on this page. And then I'm gonna go with a box sizing, the first one, and then border box or content box. All right, so let's go with the first one because I never remember which is which. But now we can play it with the padding. So we have a 300 pixel and the padding. So let's grow the padding 40. So this looks the same size. Now the image is smaller. Okay, now let's go with border box. Now let's go with the other option. Content box. Now let's change this to 40. Is this the same size and this grow? Let me see. It's up to here. Yes, now see what I mean? Now to add the padding, it leaves the image the same size, but it grows the padding outward. Notice how here the border gets up to here, and if I go like this, now our border is up to here. So the image must be like the same size. So those are the main two. What would we like to go? So I'm gonna go with the first one, border box. So now the padding and border get included inside the width. The width includes the border and the padding and automatically adjusts the content. So I hope that was educational. So let's go back to 4. So we have this little border. And I don't know if we want to do the same image on my home, because this one is a bit bigger. I'm gonna leave this content image style just on the about. Sorry, just on this menu image for now. So now let's work on the nav. Let's work on the nav next. Remember how we had the anchor tags on their own and they were side by side, and then when we wrap them on the LIs, list items, each one goes on its own row. So let's specify not to do this. And we go to the style and let's now, how we have A's inside an app, now let's go LI items inside the nav. Remember, Right here that we have a comma means both. Right here that we do not have a comma means list items inside a nav. So the key here is this inline block. This means precisely that. So now they are no longer one on each row, so they are now all inline. Let's add some padding of 8 pixels and 4 pixels. So I place the nav list items above the nav A, but I think I'm gonna move this active, or down here, because we have the nav anchors and then the nav anchors when they are active. So while we are at it, let me just remove this ugly blue default color. Let's use the same brown we're using for the headers for now. Maybe later we're gonna change, but now we are starting to, it's looking a little bit warmer, right? That default blue is very hard to look at. So, and we are changing it. Oh, this learn more about coffee. Well, we'll leave that A for now. Right now we just change the A's inside the nav. Let's leave it like that for now. So the recap, we did some styling on the table and a little box model tutorial and also the inline block. And I think that will be it for now for this video. So we'll continue on the next one. Thanks for watching.